Before I start the show, I have to thank Brian Michaels and the entire team at Bluebird Coffee, Tuning, and Rentals. We recorded this episode there, and it's such a rad spot. The newest mandatory stop on your way to Whistler. FNRad is presented by Flojoy water, which is purified by granite rocks. Flojoy, a true gift of nature, and Chris Roach. And Essential Toothpaste Tablets, travel-ready, eco-friendly toothpaste your taste buds will enjoy. Wired Snowboards factory in Vancouver builds high-quality custom snowboards for about the same price as other brands' regular boards. I've created several one-of-a-kind wired customs, including a Chase 162 that's seen hundreds of my best powder days. Get yourself a game-changing snowboard and join the Wired team with Devin Walsh, Sasha Daly, and many others. Wired Snowboards. For more information, go to wiredsnowboards.com. Fixed bindings are FNRad. The comfort, performance, and quality of fixed bindings stokes me out every time I snowboard. Their commitment to making bindings that work amazingly and give you no issues puts Fix ahead of other binding brands. It's just that simple. Buy fixed bindings at an authorized dealer or go to fixbindingco.com. Bluebird Coffee, Tuning, and Rentals in Squamish is the coolest new stop on your way to Whistler. Bluebird offers quality board tunes using state-of-the-art equipment, premium rentals for every level of rider with demos of Burton step-ons, and award-winning coffee and incredible smoothies. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and lots of charm, stop by Bluebird in Squamish and get your board tuned at the newest mandatory stop on your way to Whistler. Pro Standard makes the grill mount the best mount for your Insta360 GoPro or DJI camera. It's a heat moldable mouth mount, tripod, hand grip, hook mount, bottle mount, wall mount, clamp mount, glove mount, and shoe mount, designed by snowboard legend Ken Ochenbach to get you the perfect angle for snowboarding, surfing, biking, and it'll replace 90% of your other mounts. Use code FNRAD to get 20 off your first order at prostandard.com. Anon snow goggles enhance and protect your vision with unmatched optical clarity. Anon's Magnatech quick lens change technology allows you to swap lenses with ease. All Anon goggles are engineered to deliver no fog days and pair perfectly with Anon helmets and MFI magnetic face masks. Get yourself the best goggles at an authorized Anon dealer near you. Support also comes from our friends at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop. Check out boardroomshop.com and use code FNRAD10 for 10% off regular priced items and FNRAD5 for 5% off sale items. 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scof. FNRAD20 saves you 20% off at 1910.com. New Greens, the superfood green drink sourced from American farms. Use code FNRAD for 20% off at newgreens.com. I want to thank DeKind Snowboard outerwear, travel bags, and backpacks, Rip Curl's Anti-Series outerwear, and our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their support. Mikey Rencz returns to the show to talk about snowboarding. He's been on the Burton team since before he was a teenager, and now he holds the keys to the Whistler Backcountry, often playing host to some of the best snowboarders in the world. If you've met him, you know he's one of the most likable guys in the snowboarding community, and if you've seen his video parts, you know he's one of the best to ever make a living snowboarding. Stoked to have him back on FNRad. Here's Mikey Rencz.
Oh, dude, that's like with Mikkel. Like, he treats his board as like his baby. He brings it in the house at night. He'll wax every night. He's got a whole procedure, and I wax periodically.
Yeah.
Bring it in the shop here every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need the shop guy to do it.
It's nice for sure.
It's so sweet
Yeah.
to have, a wax guy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I looked at Peeps for the first time in forever, and I noticed that the newest ones have like satellite technology.
Okay.
So I'm excited. It's the same price as a regular thing, maybe
Okay.
$100 more.
Yeah.
You use like a tracker, BCA or something?
I'm on a Mammut.
Mammut.
Yeah.
Those ones are badass.
Yeah, I've been on that one for a couple of years, traded out every little bit. And I got a BCA I got to check out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of just like every year do a little refresher course with some guides and kind of see what they're using. And then pick their brain a little bit, and then try to mimic that, really.
Right. Because they're the ones that do the thing. Did you ever toy with the idea of becoming like a backcountry mountain guide? Or
no,
it's so much work. Hey,
it's a lot of work. For sure.
So much work.
Yeah, like just this fall, I did my wilderness first aid. It's just a 40-hour course. It was an awesome course. It was honestly kind of embarrassing because I was just like, I can't believe I hadn't done this already. And it's not much with snow safety and things like that. It's more just like medical type situations. But anyway, that's just like to further that and to get what you need for a guide, to be a guide, is like very extensive. And not that was like hindering me from being interested in it, but just like a lot of respect to those guys for like, they got to go through a lot of like schooling to be where they're at.
I remember the first time I talked to someone about, like, I was like, oh, maybe that's something I'd want to do. And about a quarter of the way through what you have to do, like him telling me, I was like, I'm never doing this, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's already too much. There's more. And then it went on for like, like it's like 6 years or 8 years or something. Like, I'm exaggerating, but it's like, if you fast track it, it's 4 years or something.
Yeah, it's heavy duty. Those guys are like very, they should get more respect, I think. Like, they're very...
I've definitely switched my respect on ski patrol. Mm-hmm. I forget when it happened, but it legitimately happened.
Yeah.
Like, I remember saying to the ski patrol, he caught me out of bounds, and I'm like, look, I really do respect what you do. And he goes, no, you don't. And he meant it, because I've seen him in that zone a bunch of times. He's like, I told you not to be in here. You know what you're doing. Like, it sucks. But I'm like, no, I do understand. You're like an emergency room doctor that has all your stuff in a remote backpack and you're on skis. Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That you're treating broken limbs remotely in the backcountry. I'm stoked that you guys are here. You're keeping a lot of people safe. It's really incredible. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I could.
No, me neither.
Well, first you have to ski, really. People that do it on
is there a couple shredders? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen a few. Mm-hmm. But it seems like they also know how to ski too. Like, certain days they would ski, maybe. Yeah,
I think even with some guides, like, there's only certain ops that will let you guide as a snowboarder. Mm-hmm. And if you are on a snowboard, it'll have to be a split board.
Right. So just in case, because if you get into a flat spot, you have to
gotta haul someone out.
I'm such a like dummy. Like, I don't think of things like that. Like, like when the first 10 times I went in a helicopter, I was like, why can't we go there? Like the whole time. And then, like, at the end of the day, damn, they didn't let us go to any stuff I wanted to go to. Yeah, all the exposed, dangerous, bony, shitty, cliffed out, dumb shit that nobody goes to. Or they go when, it's not 20 people in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when you guys are there, you guys get the good stuff.
Yeah, it's generally like a client's not really, like, if we're with a guide if we're at like an operation, like, we're not really riding stuff that the clients are going to be on anyway. So
right.
It's never like much of a clash.
Yeah, and you're not doing the like 1,000,000-foot jacket thing where you're trying to get as much feet in a day. You guys are going to special zones, setting up for like real shit. You've been doing it a long time, huh?
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
Long time. This is my 30th year on Burton.
That's right. That's a big celebration. That's worth, like, if I had an air horn, I'd blow it. It's definitely
thank you.
Dope, dude.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Well, I guess, and like, I got to say, I'm 38 years old, so.
Yeah, you're a young kid still.
I'm still kind of, I'm not as old as you would expect when someone says they've been with a brand for 30 years.
Right, it's true.
I guess is why I just had to say it. But, been there since I was a kid. And
you've seen a lot of eras, right? Like, so, like, you said it before we turned the mics on, that the contracts, like how, Craig Kelly basically wrote the blueprint for professional snowboard contracts back in like 89, 88, 89, 90, the very early 90s at the latest. But now there's been a shift. Like, I guess kind of feels like it's finally official, right? Like, okay, a pro snowboarder is a completely different animal than, back then it was like get coverage for the brand, win the contest. So it seems like the gear is the thing that makes you a champion, right? And yeah, like exposure. I don't even know what it is now.
Yeah, I think like everybody's incentives on their contracts is probably situated a little more like personalized. But like, yeah, it previously, like my standard contract for a long time was like you'd have your base salary and you would have your travel budget, and then you would get X amount of dollars for a full page, quarter page. Obviously a cover was the coveted amount, and then like you'd get paid per second, like under 5 seconds in a video, under 30 seconds, of a minute and under, blah blah blah.
Cool.
And you would get paid for all of that, and it was always like a huge bonus at the end of the year. And like it was almost like every year, if you maxed out your incentives, then your incentive cap was just added on to your next contract.
Damn.
And then so like that was like a really easy way of just like kind of like proving your worth, and then just like boom, right into your next contract with a raise. And then you have another incentive cap to reach, which honestly was always pretty easy to do because there was so many magazines, like all the Euro mags, obviously all the Japanese mags, North American mags, like there was so many different magazines. It was pretty easy if you're good at distributing your photos and like helping the photographers like find places to put your photos. Not every photographer needed help with that.
Right.
But yeah, it was always like pretty, honestly, like kind of easy to max out your incentives every year.
Sick.
And then now it's like certain people are like, if you gain 10,000 followers in a year,
wow. Yeah.
you get X amount of dollars. If you go to a certain amount of events, you'll get X amount of dollars. And yeah, it's definitely different.
That's wild. But I mean, so to an outsider looking in at professional snowboarding, like it seems like a dream job. Like it seems like there couldn't be a better job, like, and I've recently stopped being a mailman. I don't say retired yet because I still feel like, dude, I got to make some money for the rest of my life somehow. But I live a retirement life, and I imagine that is like the life of a professional snowboarder is like some days you sleep and then you go ride and then you sleep again and then you get up at night and then you sleep again. You get up in the morning and you kind of do whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
my
it was
guess.
definitely like that, I would say, until I was probably like 30.
Right.
Where it was like, yeah, you would just, like your only job, like all you had to do was to go snowboarding. And then you would snowboard and then you'd party and you'd have like a hangover day. And then you're back to shredding. And then in the summer, you just try to get healthy for the winter again. Do a bunch of like, just like company obligations throughout the winter, and then you do your premiere tours generally and things like that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately you're just like traveling, having a good time snowboarding. And then as you obviously get older, obligations change a little bit, just like things with, just family and
Right.
then your like objectives change a little bit and you don't want to be out partying all the time. Some people do. Yeah, I mean, definitely for a long time, it's definitely the dream job, where all you have to do is think about snowboarding.
Yeah, did it ever... Okay, so, I mean, with a 30-year career, it seems like the answer to this is pretty obvious, that it probably never got to the point where you're like, shit, maybe I'd like to get, like, a day job. And
No.
it's like,
No, not at all. I mean, like, it's still my dream job because I still love snowboarding so much, and, like, it's... Like, there's not many things in the world that make me as happy as, like, when I'm riding powder. It's just the best.
yeah.
And like I'm just in a position where like I don't really feel like I have anything to prove, or like I don't Yeah, I just like want to keep having fun and like get a couple cool shots, but just like ultimately just like keep showing people that snowboarding is like super fun and it doesn't need to be super crazy. And I don't know, still my dream job, but long story short.
Right,
sure.
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember saying it to Jeremy Jones, and I think a couple of people have pointed out, like, dude, it's not easy what he does. But I'm like, dude, imagine you picked, and you did this too, like big park jumps and like having to film like a banger part. Like you won X Games real snow, like compared to like going around to beautiful vistas in the world and putting down like a sick ass carve. Like that's more work and a little bit more hard. Like if you chose to be the poster boy for the sick carve in the mountains and you were able to do that, like you got the cherry gig. Yeah. Right? They're like, we want to get a sick carve. What do you need? You're like, well, I need a helicopter and a flight to like where it snowed.
Yeah.
But then you're not there going like, oh shit, I don't know if I can do that carve, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're just like riding like the cherry stuff. Like you've picked the absolute best fucking thing. And I'm thinking, and I might be way off on this, but just being based in Whistler, like you kind of have the cherry gig of the cherry gig. Like obviously it's not easy to win X Games. Real snow. That's you have legitimate skills on a world level, but when you kick back and stay home and go out on the sleds here, it's not like you're in Trollhagen, right?
Yeah.
Like which is also fine. Some people, I see Andrew Brewer crushing it at his local mountain. I'm stoked for him too.
Yeah.
But like you've got this rad spot, and you are one of the people like you mentioned. In other podcasts like a Sheen Campos or a Martin Galland, who does an incredible job of getting after the slash and knowing where to go. Like
yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, like a huge benefit of me living here is like, generally if someone's coming to film here for the winter, let's say they'll show up in January or they'll show up just for like a couple trips through the year, and there's this huge panic to like, where are we gonna go? Like finding jumps, etc. And for me, like my season starts here in November. I'm out riding all November. I'm looking at everything all November, like December, except for this year because of injury. But like generally, like I already have such a lay of the land by the time it's filming season that I can like already be like, okay, we're going here. Like this gets light until 10 a.m. Like, and then we're going over here. So that's like obviously a huge advantage to like being here all the time.
Right, of course, because if you're somebody that comes here to do it, but you're not from here, you're reliant on someone else to tell you.
And you're only here for 5 days, and you're just like, I gotta get some shots, and then I gotta go home, and then
right. And the pressure is just on, right? And Whistler Backcountry. So I had a sled for one season. I think I went 7 times. Maybe that number is jumping now. It could have been 6.
Okay.
Could have been 4. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But it was overwhelming for a couple of reasons. Learning here it's not the easiest spot in the world to learn. Although I had amazing people showing me around, so that was pretty cool. John Scarth was like super sick. Like the Simodian twins, like just know where they're going. It's super great. But it's like learning to play hockey at Maple Leaf Gardens or something. Like there's everywhere around you are crews of people who are the best in the world. And you're going, well, how the fuck am I going to get up that? And then you fail a couple of times, and then the crew you're with is like, here, I'll double you, you fucking idiot. And then you get on, here, try my turbo, and then I like flub it on a turbo, and they're like, okay, we'll just double you to the top.
But that's fine, because that person was in that situation themselves at a certain point as well.
But it doesn't feel good when you're in it.
Yeah, no, it's
and it feels
like the weak link.
Yeah, and also like I should be doing like the Mikey Cicerelli program where I go out and do this on my own for a bit and not burden everybody else the first year. Like, but I'm too, I don't want to say lazy, but like, I don't want to hike to the top of a mountain. If there's a chairlift, I want the chairlift. my number one thing would be a heli, probably a sled with someone else doubling that I feel comfortable with, right? Where I just ride the brake and they say, don't ever touch it. And I just hang on and I get to the top of things.
Yeah.
And they go, you know what? You can't ride the sled down, so you have to snowboard.
Yeah.
That's like the best day ever. Heli's next, then a chairlift, then maybe catboarding. But I would never walk. I wouldn't. So for me, I just skipped I just kind of went like, yeah, you can't do it. And then people like took me to the good spots.
Yeah.
Which didn't feel good. I needed probably 2 more years.
Okay.
Yeah,
it definitely takes time.
Yeah. But oh my God, the things that you guys get to ride.
Yeah,
it ruins everything
amazing.
else.
Oh, 100%.
You can't go to a resort and be like, oh wow, 3 turns, how neat.
Dude, 100%. Because like, I don't go ride Whistler. I haven't had a pass to Whistler, and like, I don't know. I don't even remember when I had a pass last. And people just trip out like, I can't believe you don't go ride to Whistler. And I'm just like, I'm such a spoiled snowboarder that like, if I want to ride powder, like that tank's pretty full, you know? Like, I don't need to go to the resort and wait in a huge line to ride powder. So if I'm riding a resort, I just want to do like side hits and just like do some cruisers. And I just go to the city and I go ride Cypress, Grouse, Seymour. And that's like the resort for me, where like I've been so spoiled with riding powder that like, sledding has like definitely provided that.
Well, that was the thing with the sled when I sold it, was I honestly did think like, I need to be able to go to these little resorts and enjoy myself again. Because you would go and you would look and be like, what I was riding yesterday, this is 2 turns. Like really, like top of the resort to the bottom are 3 big giant open pow turns. And now I'm right back to like, I didn't even think about going sledding. I'm like, the grip is too much for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's so psycho to get back. I've gotten back to the truck before and literally broke down in tears and been like, fuck, someone got buried in an avalanche and we kept going. And fucking, that was so hard.
Yeah.
No, it was totally scary as shit.
Oh, man. I say that too. Like, sledding, you can either have the best day of your life or the worst day of your life. Like, you're just digging out sleds all the time. Like, you're exhausted. Scary stuff's happening. You're uncomfortable, whatever. But, like, once you work past that and you get comfortable and you ride some fun stuff and you just get some good snow and your cruise right, like, it just won't get any better.
It's so
in my
much,
opinion.
It's so much better. Like, it's just it's a completely different animal. Like I said, I think I would probably put sledding above heli, just in that you are free. You see a thing over there and you go, I want to go to that, and then you go to it and you're like, that was sick.
Yeah.
Whereas in a helicopter, there's a vibe of like, you're going at the speed of the group. And also, people are reminding you all the time how fucking dangerous it really is, you know? Like,
yeah, I think I agree with you on, like, I prefer, I'm biased, but I prefer, like, snowmobile access snowboarding compared to helicopter, because, like, on a sled, like, I can look at what we're going to ride, like, 360 degrees before you ride it, and you, like, get a really good scale of, like, how big things actually are. And, like, some people have it where they can scope something from a helicopter and like, boom, it's dialed. But I don't have that from the helicopter. And for that, like, I just prefer this, like, scoping everything on a sled, looking at it. And, you know, you're putting in your tandem trail. You know how the snow is. Like, you have a better idea of how big everything is. And, I was just thinking I had, like, dyslexia. The other day I was looking across a valley at a bent tree. I'm like, at that bent tree, we'll take those like 5 turns there. And then I get to the bent tree and it was really small. Yeah.
I thought it was like a giant tree. And the 5 turns were like, you know, like 2 board lengths.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so weird that I can't see that.
Yeah.
But I've heard like people talk about you and like Devin Walsh, like human GPS, like you have like, you know where you are.
Yeah.
Whereas like, yeah, getting lost in the mountains. Like, that was a part of the panic for me, was like, if I ever got away from the group, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know which way we came from, and I don't know which way I'm going. It's crazy. But you get that with practice.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And like a lot of the zones around Whistler were shown to me, like to a certain extent, but like for the most part, I kind of found a lot of the places that we go to. Like, I'm not saying I found them first, but a lot of people didn't show me how to get there.
Yeah.
So I've always just memorized everything.
That's it.
And where it's different if you're like just following somebody in there all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People have told me where we went, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was what. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, it just got on the sled, and I held onto the bars, and I looked about 10 feet ahead of us for what felt like a million years. And then they were like, okay, which line do you want to take? And I was like, holy fuck. And it was awesome.
Totally.
But I was not like poking around discovering places like I have been at the local mountains, right?
Yeah.
Like, it feels nice to have friends show up and then be like, oh, you know what? Today, the best we're going to get is just over this zone over here, you know, and it really, you know it.
Yeah.
It feels so much better than, you know, when I go to a random resort and someone says, oh, yeah, we should try out these trees. Oh, no, they're all moguls.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over to this ridge line. Oh, no, it's all rocks. Like, I'm like, really? This is the best you guys have today?
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah, totally.
That's how it goes.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in snowboarding, you started as a child, 8 years old. The first board was that Moro board you showed me at your house.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you get on Burton from the Moro board, or did you?
Yeah, well, I was on. I got that board when I was 7. I actually got on my brother's birthday, which is in like 3 days here. But I got on my brother's birthday, and then I had to hide it because my mom was like,
"You can't
like,
trump the birthday."
Yeah, exactly. But however everything laid out, like I got the board that day. We were in Banff, got it from Rude Boy's shop.
Sick.
And then I was on that board for a bit, and I think it started out as a 129. It had the like pointy nose, square tail. And then after a bit, the Rude Boys tech took a saw to it and made it a twin tip. And then I think it was down to like a 125, which honestly was like better size for me.
Yeah.
And then
how many other 7-year-olds are riding at that time? Like
there was like basically none.
Right.
And that's what I always tell people, like, they're like, oh, you must have been so good as a kid. And I was talented, but there was no competition. Sure. Like the 13 and under category, there was like, for the first couple of years, there's like 4 of us in Alberta. And then it was started to grow for sure. But
as there was gear, because there was no gear.
Yeah, there was no
kids.
gear.
Yeah,
exactly. So I was on that board for like, until I must have been, I guess I turned 8 that winter, and then that next winter I got a board from the Burton rep, Scott Curry in Alberta, and then
so sick.
Had that. And it's funny, actually, we're in the waxing shop here, but I had to give that board back at the end of the year, and I had tried to wax my own board as an 8-year-old, and I left the iron on it way too long.
Excellent.
And it had bubbles all over it. And they were just like, I remember handing it back like, here you go, like, here's the board. And they were just like in disgust, like, what are we supposed to do with this thing?
Was it slow after that? Like, did you wrecked the board?
I didn't even notice, like 8 years old, just so pumped.
When you're a kid, you no idea.
Yeah, but it just had bubbles all over it.
Yeah, I remember a moment my mom like yelling like, get down here, like go in the basement, and she, ironed her like nice shirt with an iron that I had waxed shit with. She's like, you wrecked my shirt.
Yeah. Now it smells like the beach or something.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Like, I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah. No.
I mean, so dumb.
Yeah.
What's all this wax on the carpet? There's like wax, like stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to get that off.
Just waxing my board, Mom.
Well,
Calm
don't.
down.
Yeah. What are you fucking doing?
Trying to go fast.
Yeah.
You gotta hit the jump.
And no idea on the wax.
No.
Like, I think I waxed with like cross country ski wax
Yeah.
one time.
totally.
And that was no good.
And was it the Parawax? Was that the cross-country ski stuff? And it was good for
Glide wax
curbs?
or something. Oh, yeah. It was soft and it was like gross.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just had no idea. But I did know that when I brought it to the wax shop, it was $20 for the guy to do it, and it was fast as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But $20 was like $200.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, okay, so now my board has been waxed, and that's it. I'm never waxing it again.
Mm-hmm.
It was so expensive. I rode like a 175 as like a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
And like where there were no hills.
Totally, because there's not many options like for like smaller options.
Well, it was actually where I was, there was like 6 boards in the shop.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that was the one that Damian Sanders had. So I was like, fuck, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to be like that guy.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's for sure the one.
Yeah.
Like when you get on Burton stuff, what's the first couple of boards that you're riding?
Oh, I honestly
Wasn't
don't even
choppers or anything.
No,
yet,
there was
right?
no like kids. Well, that was kind of my. So like when I was 8, I got on Burton, and I honestly don't even remember the model of the board. Like I can remember how it looked, but I don't know the model.
Yeah.
And then I had another board from the rep after that, and then Burton started a kids, like a youth clothing line called Backhill.
Right.
And then that's how I started to get.
I remember the
on.
ad. Last time you were on the show, I found the ad, and you're holding up a sign or something. Somebody's.
There was a
holding up
bunch.
sign.
We would like. So we would. I guess they called around to all the reps, and they were like, "Hey, do you got any kids? Because we're doing this Backhill brand, and like send us all your kids because there wasn't that many, you know."
Yeah.
And so like at the start of the year, we'd start with like 10 kids, and then by the end of the year there's like 4 of us. Like they kind of would and we would do quite a few photo shoots, and they would always like, yeah, they were always super fun, like, and they'd like, because I was like 8, 9, probably 10 until that ended. But anyway, like they'd fly our parents out too, and
Of
like
course.
the whole,
Yeah, you're too young to just fly 10-year-old.
so that was super cool. But and then from that, then they started to do like the choppers and the punches and like an actual kids like board line.
Yeah, like that's what my kids were on. We're just an old punch, an old chopper with a shark on it.
Yeah.
Like it was dope. I mean, they were good boards.
Yeah, good board.
I remember one time it snowed in North Van. I was working at the boardroom up on Lonsdale, and I hadn't driven, so I had to get down to the Lonsdale Quay, and I had my kids' board. I just rode it down the sidewalk all the way down. And I was like, these things are actually not bad.
Yeah, for sure.
A little 129 or 135 or something. It's like they hold a grown man.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun when the gear started to diversify into all different categories and you could start to, but then for a while there was just popsicle sticks, really. Everything was just like a twin, everything. Everything was just twin.
Yeah.
For the backcountry board, just a stiffer twin.
I don't even think I even noticed it at that point because I was just like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really care about like having a different shaped board or anything.
What was your discipline? Like, did you compete in everything?
I competed a bunch as a kid. I was like, I thought I was a half pipe rider. But I think like ultimately I was like better at jumping.
Yeah.
And it was funny, like
jumping didn't come in at first. It was only half pipe and racing. Were you in it when it was just half pipe and racing?
Yeah, there was no slope style events.
It didn't happen yet.
So it was like you did that, and then you would do like a dual slalom that had like the drops in the middle. You remember that one?
Yes.
And then like border crossing was kind of popular for a bit. I guess it still kind of is, but
I don't know if it is.
No.
I think they're hard to build.
Yeah, I bet probably costs a lot of money to build one.
Yeah, big build. But yeah, I remember when border cross first kind of came in.
Yeah.
Palmer was crushing it.
Yeah.
It was like, it was exciting, but then competing in it sucked.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
People would just grab you and run over you. And
Totally. And it was always like the people that would do, I don't mean this in like any disrespectful way, but like the people that would do really well in the border cross were like a lot of the times the people that didn't do good in the other disciplines. And then
absolutely,
I don't know. Anyway, but did that.
Until the guys who did well in the other ones, like the Seth Westcotts and you know, like Palmer, they're like, we can clean up at this.
Yeah,
we
totally.
can actually make some money at this. This is
Like,
dope.
got way better board control than these guys.
Yeah, totally.
But I did that for a while, and then honestly, like, because every time we would go on these backhill, like these kids Burton shoots, like, we would shoot in the pipe, and then we would do we'd build jumps and hit the park jumps and stuff. And Shawn White had this interview, and they were like, "Is there any other kids that's like kind of on your level?" And Shawn was like, "Well, there's Mikey, but he's more of a park rider." And I remember reading that and being like, what does he mean? Because in my head I thought it was a pipe rider, but it kind of like got my wheels spinning, because I was like, I guess I am like better at jumping than I am in the pipe. I could do a bunch of tricks in half pipe, but I was like, I could not link them together in a full run.
Interesting.
Like for a while, like when I was like 13, 14 years old, like do a McTwist at the top and like do a 720 at the bottom, like boom, you won.
Yeah.
But then as soon as it was like, okay, you get in the pro category and you got to start linking tricks, I was like more of a one hitter. Like I could do the tricks, I just couldn't link them together.
The big start, the big finish, you win the thing.
Yeah,
no
and
problem.
then as soon as I had to like add some more in the middle, I was done really. But yeah, and then like moving to Whistler too, when I was 14, like the half pipe was always full of snow, so it was just like, well, we're gonna go build jumps. We're not gonna be riding the half pipe.
Totally.
So yeah, it was pretty easy exit in the half pipe.
Yeah, and was there like shack at that point? Was there already? So like you've already got pro park, and did you wear a helmet?
Yeah.
The whole way through?
No, not all the way through. I probably, honestly, like when I started riding more backcountry, when I was like probably 16, I kind of stopped wearing my helmet just because I was like, and when I was that young, like my kit was not dialed. Like when I would go in the backcountry, it was not dialed at all. And so like I'm always wearing my sled helmet, and then like switching to my other helmet, like I just did not have that like that switch over like dialed at all. And then as that became an issue, I just stopped wearing my snowboard helmet.
Yeah.
And at that time too, it was kind of like the stigma of like, oh, like getting out of looking like a kid rider, like by like ditching the helmet kind of thing. So
I never thought of that. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So that was kind of like, it was like almost like a welcome transition to like not wear the helmet. And then I was like,
I take a lot of flack for not wearing a helmet, but when I look around in the lift lines now, and you can look, there's like 99.9% of people have helmets on.
Yeah, totally. I've been wearing a helmet the last 2 years. Yeah. Not all the time, but I have definitely been wearing it more, especially last year because it was like a bony, like we didn't have much snowpack here. So I started out the year with a helmet, and I ran it like almost the whole year. And this year I bring it with me out every day.
You have access to great shit with the Burton setup. What's your helmet? What's the one?
It's the Anon. I can't even tell you
the MIPS or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, and they're sick. I don't know the model.
Yeah.
But it's an Anon one, just like super straightforward, and you can like tighten it, whatever.
How lucky is it that you scored the Burton thing early, and was there ever a time where you were like talking with your parents and being like, maybe Hooger Booger is
nice. There was a couple times.
Yeah,
there was a couple times, and it's almost like laughable thinking about it. Just like how things would have changed.
Yeah, what were they?
There was almost like a nitro change at one point because I had just done some stuff for the Treetop movie for, I think it was Second Wind with like Lucas Huffman and Sheen up on Brome, like over the summer.
Right.
And Lucas called me in this fall, or maybe it was still throughout the summer or whatever, but he was like, hey, like I really want to like get you on nitro. And
what would that take? And you start entertaining it kind of thing? Or?
I thought about it.
Yeah.
For sure, but and I think like at that point it was that was like a pretty easy decision because like nitro, like almost like it was cool, like definitely, and like they had a sick team, but it wasn't like as cool as it became,
Totally.
shortly after.
Totally.
So that was like honestly kind of like a bit of an easy decision, but I was so like humbled and like stoked that he reached out.
That's
because
right.
Luke is such badass, and like obviously hanging out with Sheen is awesome.
Yeah.
And then like when Genius was starting.
Oh, wow, that's a mind blower.
Yeah, Genius
you
was
on
in the mix.
Genius,
Yeah,
damn, that would
and
be sick.
that was kind of funny.
What era Mikey is that?
That was like, is that like 2002? Maybe
that sounds about right. 2002,
something like that.
So you're crushing it at that point.
I was like just getting into backcountry. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was like not really doing any contests anymore. I don't think. Like maybe I would do an odd one.
But filming.
Yeah. It started like I'd had like a couple things in some movies with like Treetop and Gathering Collective, which was like Martin Gallant's production company,
Yeah.
and some Alterna stuff. And yeah, I was like definitely kind of in the mix but I was young.
And Genius was the forum kind of offshoot.
Yeah, they were just starting. So they hadn't like, there was no boards yet.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, and they had a lot of money going in.
Yeah.
So they kind of like wanted to make this big splash and steal a bunch of riders and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of in the mix. And then a couple others that honestly weren't that interesting, but they were just kind of like, is I had an agent for a long time too.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And, they were like kind of things that like he didn't even bring to my attention.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, they wanted you, whatever. But
24/7 or some board company.
some brands that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, the lucky thing with Burton, like, do you know, like, did you know at the time? Have you known the whole way through, like, how fucking dialed in you are to be with like the number one company?
No, not. Or I mean, I was always like really like appreciative and everything, and like Burton was always like the holy grail, you know.
Totally.
So there wasn't ever a moment where I was like, oh, I'd be sick to be with like a cooler company or whatever.
Right. I can't even imagine just growing up with it there, right? Like, you think about it, your parents buy you a board when you're 7. You never have to buy a board ever again. But I was thinking about it on the way up here. It's like there are certain people. I just rode with Tyler Lepore down at the LBS.
Sick.
There's certain people that just turning their board, the way that their body is in the world, is just compatible with being a pro snowboarder. And there are a lot of people out there that became pro snowboarders that have to work at everything, and that is like,
yeah, for sure,
they've got to do stuff like 60 times to get they're like, it's not quite what I want, it's close, and there's no right way to do it or wrong way to do it, but
for sure,
that top, like those top level guys, you see a Terrier or a Nico just hit a method or whatever anywhere at any time, and you're like, fuck, damn, that's so sick. And you're one of those dudes, man.
Yeah,
your style is
definitely
so
different.
good.
But like, I just gotta say, like, because you mentioned Nico, like, I went on a trip to South Fe with him one year, and South Fe, and it was like end of the season. I'd already like I was happy with my footage for the year, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll go on a trip with Nico, that'll be sick, and like whatever I get is extra, but just like this will be fun. And I didn't get a single shot. I couldn't even like some of the jumps that he hits, like I couldn't even make it to the takeoff. Like super crazy compression, and he's like so like nimble, and he's just like popping around, and he's getting like 5 shots a day on like these tiny little jumps, and he's just going huge. And I'm just like this big dude like flying around, and like I didn't get anything. And but yeah, like dudes like him, Terrier, like blah belts like that too, that can just like hop around. They're like actual magicians on their snowboard. It's like so incredible.
Yeah, I put you in that category for sure. I do. Like, it's incredible. Just the way that you look when you're riding your board. It's the right way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's super sick. Burton seems to me to be like you said, the pinnacle, the dream. Like, if you ever, have their stuff and then go to something else real quick, you know, like you're like, oh my God, Burton stuff is better. It's better in a way. And I don't ride for them or anything. I mean, they do sponsor the show, which is awesome. But I think that the reason that is because they're independent. They can do what they want, and they really do value you guys coming in and consulting on like pretty much everything.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't put out stuff that hasn't been tested and put out there and enjoyed by the people that are ripping at it. So, like,
yeah, totally.
Has being involved in that process been pretty dope the whole way through?
Yeah, it's awesome for sure. And like, I mean, I've only ever ridden one board that's not a Burton in my whole life. Like, I don't even think I've done like a run down somewhere on like another board, like on like a homie's board. I don't even think I've ever done like a board swap or something.
That's unreal.
Like, maybe,
really?
But I don't think so.
That's amazing.
But just to me, like if I go into like a snowboard store and I look at certain brands and like brands that are selling super well, I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand how that board can sell so good. It just looks crazy. Looks like it was made in like my mom's garage. Like, I just don't get it on some of these brands. And like, I'm not saying they're bad at all. I've never ridden them, but people seem to like them. But I just like, yeah, the Burton stuff is just like super dialed. Rides super well. If it doesn't, they'll fix it. And I think like generally it looks pretty good too.
Oh yeah, it's clean stuff. When I went to the Burton factory and saw like Craig's, and I mean, I love Craig, so, and also, you know, TK takes you through like the archives and you're seeing like the jacket that Jake wore and all this old cool shit. That's the stuff. You're like, holy fuck. I really fell in love with Burton as a company when I was there and was enamored. I actually said I was going to, because Terry, I was like, why are you off Burton? He's like, ask Donna. So I actually like just was like, hey, can I get an interview with Donna? And I thought, I'm going to go down there and I'm really going to grill her over the rocks. Why'd you let go, Terry? What a terrible idea. Yeah. And by the time I got to the questions, I was like so enamored with Burton. I was like, yeah, I guess like, whatever.
Yeah, have a good day.
Going, cool. He texted me like, dude, you were just doing like a job interview. What the fuck are you fucking? And, I mean, that whole thing was just such a nightmare. He should still be on Burton. That's silly that he's not, in my opinion. But, you know, falling in love with Burton is very easy when you go there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they have a wicked setup. And
they make their binding parts in a fucking 3D printer. And the boards are put together, like, all wild. Like,
it's cool.
Really, really hard to... it would be hard to pick apart and be like, oh, yeah, these guys... You know, just don't give a shit about snowboarding.
Exactly. I got to say, since you mentioned TK, like Todd Coleman, for everyone listening who does all the archives for Burton, but we used to go to Craig Kelly camp together. Like we were both campers.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's such a good dude.
Yeah, after the tour and everything, we went for lunch with TK, and that was kind of the highlight of the whole thing.
Yeah, cool.
He's the best dude.
Yeah, really nice guy.
And just really embodies, you know, the snowboard stoke. That's the thing. Like, for me, I'm all about the stoke. And it's tough because right now the industry's going through something. You know, it's late season capitalism or something. People are like, you know, not looking at the number of boards they can sell and making that number. They're like, hey, we got to sell 20,000 of these things. And those problems don't really translate into what I'm seeing on the hill.
You know what I mean? I totally agree. I was just thinking about that today too. It's like I think that there's still so many people doing it for the right reasons, and that's like just to have fun because they love to go snowboarding, and like honestly, that's like truly what it's all about. So as long as there's still people that do that, like, I think what's the big problem here?
I think the whole thing is those people have never that whole part has never changed. Kids still hike Seymour on the first snowfall and pull out the metal and hit the Corey P. And first day it's still happening. Sometimes Jess Kamira's there, Ben Billock is there. Like the people who are after are still after it. And I don't know. It's like trying to sell to everybody else. You know what I mean? Or trying to sell to people through Costco or whatever. Like, that's a whole different thing. You're talking about different people. You're talk about people that buy a board and go up on Christmas Eve or something when it's crazy busy and go down the bunny hill once and then lean it up against the garage.
Yeah.
Like, those aren't the dudes that I see up there all the time. They're up there. I don't even hate on the Montauk stuff I don't hate on anything.
Yeah.
I think if you are out snowboarding and you're not scrolling on your phone,
Yeah, for sure.
you're fucking doing it. That's super sick.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like you just, like, when you see people out there just like truly enjoying themselves, it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the industry's talking step-ins and all the things and core shops and direct to consumer, and I'm like, none of that has anything to do with snowboarding.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it has to do with selling snowboards for sure. That's important.
Yeah.
To get the support. That was me today. I'm wearing a shirt from Joel from Sessions.
Okay.
You know, with Terry Kidwell on it. I got a headband from Blackbird, which is sick. I got water from Chris Roach.
Yeah.
I'm going like, dude, the people in my life that are supporting me, like the listeners of the show send me money. That's how I pay for my gas. Like,
sick.
Fuck, dude, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Snowboarding is the fucking absolute
Yeah.
best thing ever. And the people that are in it are the absolute best people that I've ever met anywhere.
Yeah, rad community for
It's
sure.
so rad. And then sometimes you just get sucked into that vortex of like, it's not like how it was before. Yeah, no, but it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean by just saying that, like, people are still doing it for the right reasons. So I just feel like we're in good hands with the youth moving forward, and people are still stoked to go shredding. That's like what it's all about.
Yeah. So this year's is this a unique year for you, having gotten hurt early on? Like you've done your career without like missing a season. Right?
Yeah, for sure. There was like one season in my career where I like really should have taken it off, but I kind of was like just like pushed through it. I don't remember when that was, like maybe like 2008 or something. But anyway, but this will be like my first year. Well, I've had some years where I've been off for like a month or two.
With an injury.
With an injury, yes.
Yeah.
And then, this year kind of started off like immediately. December 7th, I hit a tree super bad. And I was out for, I think it was like 7 weeks or something. And been trying to do a soft launch, but it's been a little tough.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's all right.
Plus, you got a wife at home that's pregnant. So you got like, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure. But it's all good. It's just like a pay-to-play scenario. You know, you're gonna get hurt. You're just gonna like deal with the injuries, and
you still have time.
Yeah,
you can get some clips.
Yeah.
You can fulfill your contractual obligations. All that stuff.
Exactly.
You don't want to say it's easy, but like, it's a good job. Yeah. But you have to get it, and in order to get it, you got to be as good as you are. So you got it. You have the job. So, Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But we'll get back out there, and like I've been riding a little bit. And I think that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm starting to get back into being back in the mountains, and I'm just like feeling super rusty.
You're kind of a gatekeeper for like with all the crews coming up here to film and stuff too, right? Can you still go out and do that if you're? Yeah,
like injured? I've been taking out all the Burton guys.
Yeah.
And girls, like we were in Sycamoose. Like that was kind of my first like time back from being on the couch for a bit, and I honestly like hardly rode the whole time. I just kind of like helped them where I could, picking out some features or just like
you get stoked just
being around.
You get stoked seeing the younger generation, with that fire and
for sure. And I like they're all so like spend a lot of time with Brock Crouch.
Yeah,
and he's just so jacked up. Like,
he's so good.
He's so good, and he's just so stoked all the time.
He could be like a pro surfer, right?
Yeah, I'm not. My gauge of like what could be a pro surfer doesn't exist, but it sounds like he's a super good pro or a super good surfer.
Right. Yeah.
But it sounds like he's knows what he's doing.
And like you're saying, he's got that amazing attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him for a real quick, brief interview on the show one time, and sitting across from him, I'm like, "Ooh, the future's in good hands. If the kids are this stoked." I think he and Red came up and rode for the Ride for Jake Day. And I'm like, these kids are awesome.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I'm bummed Red isn't on Burton anymore, but stoked for him that
he went to Arbor. What a move.
Yeah. So, as long as he's happy, that's great.
Yeah,
but,
he seems stoked.
But I'm kind of bummed that he's not on anymore because he
obviously
won't get to do like film trips and stuff. Definitely one of my favorite shredders. Like getting to ride with him in person is like so incredible.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
So, he's top of the line. But, all those kids are awesome. And then like Ben Ferguson, Cicerelli, Mickle. Who else was on the trip? I think that was it on the last one. And then just this last stint with Ben and Mickle. And then, we have some more people kind of trickling out in and out throughout the winter for the Burton Red Bull project.
How fun. Okay, so this Burton Red Bull project's a 2-year project. Mm-hmm. It's going to be sick as shit.
Yeah, it should be good.
So it's going to tour like a Red Bull thing does, I would imagine.
Yeah, but there'll be like a good rollout for sure.
Oof, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully I didn't get to film too much last year just with like it being such a horrible season out here.
Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah, but a little bit of filming last year, and then hopefully
Magic March this year.
Yeah, it's funny. I always say like Magic March. That doesn't exist anymore. Like we don't get Magic March.
Oh God.
But last year we kind of had it. Like that
did.
Was like our one little savior of the season last year. But hopefully some Magic March.
Yeah, I just talked with Duncan Howitt, who's got 1968 till now, whatever that is. That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
It's almost 60 years.
Yeah.
57 years of like snow data in his head because his whole business depended on it, you know? And he says, it's not predictable. Mm-hmm. It's just not predictable.
Yeah.
It's still not predictable. It never was predictable.
Yeah.
So you can get a 100-inch storm in a weekend. Mm-hmm. They can come in and then all of a sudden everything's epic.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, they just had a 50-inch storm. This is a lot. And we just had a little one again.
Yeah.
So a little reset.
Yeah.
It's good. There's stuff out there.
For sure. And everyone around here is like so powder deprived from last year. And then obviously the lulls this year of the droughts.
Yeah. The froth is real.
Yeah, dude, crazy. I went to Cyprus on like 2 Mondays ago, and they had just gotten some snow. I thought Monday it's gonna be chill, and it was crazy. And I wasn't even bummed because it was like, I wasn't bummed that it was busy, but I was stoked for everyone that they were like, getting their powder in because everyone's just needs their.
You have such a good attitude. That's the thing. That's probably one of the secrets behind the longevity of your career, right? Is that you're a stoked dude on snowboarding. Like you say, you're going to you're not the guy who's throwing their board down because it's busy and having a fucking conniption fit.
Well, I think I'll just say it in professional snowboarding but I'm sure it's pretty widespread, but I think there's like a lot of entitlement in certain industries. And I've just never felt that like snowboarding owes me anything or that like things should be different because I'm myself or whatever. It's just like at the end of the day, I'm a snowboarder, and I don't have any entitlement towards any of that. I just love to go snowboarding, and I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. Okay. There are some people that get in a crew, puffed up chest, like, hey, this is our spot. What are you guys doing here? Mm-hmm. Only we can be here, that kind of thing. There's no real use for that.
Yeah, or people are like, if you get to a certain level in your career and they're like, well, I'm not going there because they're not paying me or whatever. And it's like, dude, what's the big deal? You don't want to go snowboarding? Like, yeah, that's insane.
If you can't have fun everywhere, then you're not really that into it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snowboarding's fun no matter what. Dorking around. Yeah. Or going the full thing.
And it's funny too because it's like we have a season. Like some people, like a lot of the contest kids, they don't they go year round literally. But
right.
But if we have 4 months to film a video part, generally, it's like, dude, you get tons of time to chill. Like
I'm doing the math. It sounds like 8 months.
Yeah, just go snowboarding. Like it's not that difficult.
Yeah, it's sick. And you do a lot of badass shit on the off season. portable sauna. You guys have the jet skis now that you're kind of doing the like sled thing on the water, is what it looks like to me. It's like you're going camping and big like
some camping missions, and like I got one from No Limits here in Squamish, like I don't remember when, quite a while ago, and I was just like, this is awesome. Like I feel like a lot of people in Squamish kind of forget that like we live on the ocean.
Yeah.
And you can just like buzz across the harbor, boom, you're at some beach where there's nobody, where you go to a lake here on the weekend, it's like absolute mayhem. So honestly, at first it was just kind of like a nice way to like just like buzz off for a little bit,
beat the
cruise
crowds.
Cruise up the river, whatever. And then as more people started to like, more homies started getting them and stuff, then we just like go do some camping missions, and yeah, it's awesome for sure. Like definitely as my family's growing, it's like the Sea-Doo is not going to be fit in a family of 4 for too long. So definitely going to have to upgrade to a bigger vessel, but
get a boat.
But for the time being, it's nice.
I thought you were gonna say, okay, so that's gonna go by the wayside. You're like, nope, just getting a bigger one.
And honestly, here too in Squamish, like our boat launch is so horrible that if you got to put your boat in and out all the time, if you don't have a slip at the marina, like you're gonna have a horrible time. So, and just putting the Sea-Doo in is so simple. Like I can go out in the morning, pop it out, doesn't matter, low tide, high tide, where like, because the boat launch is so horrible. But with the Sea-Doo, it's mellow, and go out, have a coffee, drop a crab trap, and then like go do something else for the day, and then buzz back out at like 5 and go like pull the crab traps. It's just like a nice, easy little Squamish thing to do.
It's so sick. Yeah, and it harkens back to the very first board sport to have, people that are like, fuck society. I don't want to be an accountant. I don't want to have a job 9 to 5. We're surfers that just like showed up on the ocean. They're like, we surf, we catch our food, and then we eat it at night. And it seems like
living off the land.
It seems like, well, why would you do it another way? Like, why get a job to buy crab when you can just buy a trap and get fresh crab?
Yeah, I gotta say my bounty isn't like super plentiful. Like I'm probably just starting to get free crab from as far as like my investment into
totally
crabbing.
I've done it a couple of times, and I've concluded that it's better to find the guy who does the big commercial thing and buy the ones that have like the broken legs and shit. Like I remember I was getting 3 crabs for $20.
Sick.
It, like just from when I was a mailman, a guy had all the crab traps on his lawn, and I was like, do you have like ones that you can't sell that are like friends and family kind of deal? He's like, yeah, 3 for $20. And I would just call him all the time and get 6, right? $40 worth of crab. That's like so much crab. Yeah. It's insanity.
That is sick. Yeah, because if you have like one big crab, if you're like, that's kind of good for me. Like I don't want to be cracking crab legs all the time. But,
6 is a lot.
But anyway, just like, it's a cool activity to do here.
I saw some people on foil things today.
Yeah.
That didn't have a wing or anything. It looks like they got probably an electric
there's
motor
the electric dudes here, yeah.
I've seen
those guys buzzing
thing
around.
Is going crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's going nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Mike Olson from LibTech was just all about the foils.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's low impact. I think that's the thing.
Dude, when you see someone that knows how to ride it, you're like, that totally makes sense.
It looks like fun, yeah.
Yeah, or you watch the dudes out here on the like foil windsurf compared to just the regular windsurf, you're like, dude, that looks so much better.
That is smooth. That looks bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like they're getting so jostling around, they probably can't even see. They're just like,
Yeah, I've always been a one sport guy. I didn't try golf or hockey. I've never skied. I've never like really done anything else. Skateboarding, snowboarding. And I'm always surprised. I think when people divide it between too many things, you just have too much stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd end up not going as much. That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. But yeah, I honestly had like, basically growing up as a kid, it was like skateboarding and snowboarding for me. That was it. And then I had so many summers where I would be injured all summer, where like I couldn't really do much stuff. And then as I started to have healthy summers, I was like, this is awesome. And it kind of like also fit into like when I had some money. So then, and like honestly, my biggest like draw to like getting these toys and things like a dirt bike and side by side and stuff is like I wanted to go to the places. I like hiking a lot, so like I would use these to like get up in the mountains, whatever. But I wanted to check out the spots that we spend like all winter in the summer.
Oh, sick.
And that's kind of why I got into like most of that stuff.
Yeah, because you already know these spots.
Mm-hmm.
You found them.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not like you discovered them, but you found them on your own. You're like, oh, this is that spot. Okay, cool. And now you add the 4-season thing to it, or the split season, and you're still going the same spots.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
It's just like cool to me to like see a famous jump spot in the summer. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Just as like a snowboard nerd. It's,
yeah, you're pretty
cool.
big nerd on it. Like you like watch the videos and all that up to the internet time where it like just becomes impossible to see.
Yeah,
everything.
for sure. I'd like definitely like DVD era. Like after that, it's a bit of a blur for sure.
Yeah,
but I definitely remember like some highlights of like online edits and things like that. And
of course,
I like to think that I try to watch everything that comes out. But I definitely miss a lot. And
that's a big responsibility, man. That's a lot
so
of stuff.
much, and like so much of it is like kind of crap too. That it kind of like dilutes the good stuff because you've already watched so much crap that you're like, I don't want to watch that, and then you finally like click on it and you're like, oh damn, that was actually awesome.
Yeah. I definitely have had a lot of fun going and seeing stuff that they put out in theaters. You know what I mean? Like that's always been, to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And to also have the community there kind of cheering and that,
for sure.
Compared to like, sometimes I'm watching shit. I'm lying in my bed. I'm watching it on the TV, and I'm also scrolling, and it's like competing against like fucking kids falling down or whatever it is that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Cat videos or whatever it is, and it does take away from it. I don't like the attention span thing being so, like me being like bored watching a movie is like I feel bad. I'm like, ooh, fuck, they put a lot of time and effort into this shit.
Yeah, and a lot of them nowadays that like can still be like relatively big budget and they're like not really getting that many views.
And I think I think it could be, and this is just I'm probably assimilating like Dano's take on it or something, but I think when you don't have the gatekeepers, right? Like, so if every company is making their movie and then the team rider, it's not like you have to step up to not get your footage cut, because whatever your footage is goes in the movie. So that step up like cut thing, like I think I heard you say you filmed for Standard or MacDog and you didn't get a part.
Yeah, nothing.
Like, wow, what a like
Yeah, got to step it up.
Right, but at the time to get in those films, it really was like your sponsors have to pay and you have to get lucky and fucking bring it. Yeah. And the filmer's got to get the shot.
100%.
And it's got to be something never been done. It's nuts.
I remember one year, like when we were filming for Johnson's movie, and I won't say the rider's name, but Quicksilver had paid for this rider to be in the movie, and the buy-in was like pretty large, and this dude had a lot of hype, and he was making like good money. And then at the end of the year, they said to Johnson, like, "Hey Johnson, how many shots does so-and-so have for the movie?" And Johnson was like, "He's got 2." And they were like, they couldn't believe it. And like, they couldn't just put a 2-shot part in the movie. No. So his part was after the credits, or like maybe in the credits, or after the credits, or whatever. Yeah. But I just like you were just saying, like, just because you paid the money didn't guarantee your spot in the movie. Right. But
and Johnson's not known for being ruthless, right? He wasn't like ruthless, but he's honest.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you don't, like you got to be, because like we're not really looking for, we don't want a personal best. Like we're like if we're just putting everyone's personal best in the movie, then it's like,
you just said it. That's why some of these projects now aren't getting that many views, because a personal best isn't really, or a personal best for the year. Like, because we've seen people with long careers where now we're seeing personal bests are going down, and so you're You're not putting out something that is like mind blowing compared to before. But also the consumer of the content is changing.
Yeah.
Right? Like I used to be pretty, like super critical. I'm a critical person, but so I probably still am. But you'd watch the video parts and be like, oh, so Devin already did something on that like 20 years ago. And now I've lost that completely.
Yeah.
Now it's more like, how beautiful was the shot? Ooh, they nailed that. What a beautiful day. And the style is like 100% perfect.
Yeah.
Like no jar on the landing. And you're like, fuck, that looked good.
Yeah, I feel similar in that sense too, where I changed, like I don't get as hyped on tricks anymore. I'm more hyped on the feature. Like if somebody finds a cool feature and like the snow looks good and like I'm way more hyped on that shot than like if someone goes and does a back 7 off a jump that's been back 10 or back 7 like so many times. I don't give a shit. But if they've like somebody finds a cool feature, I'm way more hyped on that.
Your take on the double cork is the best. I love that. That it's like a fun trick to do, and when you put it down, it just feels like money. But there was a time where, like, the industry was saying, "Well, can you do a double? You got to get some double corks for your part. Like, you don't have a double cork in your part. What are you doing?
Yeah, your part wasn't done unless you had a double cork,
right? Which is insane.
It was crazy, and like, but it was 100% a thing. Like, I remember that pressure of like having to get the double cork, and I kind of hated it because I had the pressure to do it, but then when I actually landed it, I was so stoked. And so it was like this, like, damn it, I hate that I had to do that, but that felt awesome.
Yeah, they look great. I remember when Travis first was doing, like, I remember seeing Travis and thinking like, oh, that's a hucker. Like it was so early in the game. Being like, oh, that's like one of those guys that just goes off the jump and like his board is under him when he comes around. Like, but then, the next year he's doing the same thing. And now 20 years later, he's still like, he has that move on lock. He can do it on like the biggest feature in a live contest in Alaska. That's fucked up. That's not a huck. That's like, he's got that thing fucking dialed.
Oh, yeah. And he's a savage, too. So.
Savage. Yeah. Unfriggin' believable. And people forget, he's doing this while he's running the contest. Like, he's like, okay, the next call for the next thing is this and this and this. Okay, now I'm dropping in for my run. Right. And they're like, ask him a question. He's like, yep, answer the question and then drop.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think he needs all those things going on to like, I don't know, that's just how his brain operates.
Yeah, I remember when I interviewed him, like there was a bit of it and I was in awe. I was like, this is a guy who's just doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like he's not out of place here. He's where he is comfortable.
For sure. I was thinking of him when I said previously, like I don't feel like I have anything to prove. He definitely doesn't have anything to prove. And he still does every year. He just like comes up with some crazy edit again and again and again. And it's like obviously different mentalities and stuff, but like he just does it.
Would you do natural selection? That thing for you?
I'll say I've tried it twice.
Yeah.
I've honestly never had a great experience. I think just like going back to a kid, like I never thrived at contests. Like I was never like a competitive dude.
Yeah.
I don't like it when someone tells me when I can drop. Like when we're filming, I drop when I'm ready,
Yes.
And I just like contests were never for me. And like the couple times that I've tried a natural, like the first one might not even been called natural selection. It might have been called
supernatural
maybe.
There was supernatural, ultra natural, then natural selection forever, I think.
Yeah. So anyway,
like
I did one of those. It was at Baldface.
Baldface, sick.
Which I was like super honored to be a part of because I have the big poster.
Rad.
At my house, and it's like it's on the wall, and just like the list of riders that are on it, I'm like, I'm so stoked to be on that list of riders,
Yeah.
But that was like kind of a crazy experience. I was just like, this is not for me. And then I did like the Canada one, which was like a couple years ago when with COVID and nobody could do it. And honestly, that was like a horrible personal experience as well. So like,
just it wasn't fun.
Yeah, just wasn't for me.
Yep.
And
you gotta love watching your friends in it though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm just like after that one, I was just kind of like, oh, I can't believe I said yes to this, just because it's just not my style and like whatever, a bunch of other stuff. But and like I don't mean this as like it's just not for me. Doing that event is just not like my style of like doing things. But I love watching it, and I love what they've done because they've created something huge
totally
that like people are into. So
yeah.
But I like watching my friends ride in it.
Yeah, I can't help watching it.
Yeah,
I'm still pretty critical of like, you know, oh man, they're doing big flips and 360s, you know, which whatever, dude. I know when I'm on top of a feature that I looked at from the other side of the valley or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's like a 5-foot thing, and it's steep, and I'm on. It's like it does not look like what it looks like,
for
man.
sure.
Scary as fuck. And then live cameras on you, and it's going out to millions of people or whatever. That can't feel rad.
Yeah,
that's got to feel awful. So
yeah, it's definitely. I like if you look at it, like the majority of the riders that do really well. Do come from a competitive background, and I think you like have to have that.
Mikkel, right,
like,
when he was a kid, right,
to like really thrive in that situation, because it is a contest, and like there's a lot of pressure, and there's just like so many things going on. And that's the other thing too. It's like if I'm dropping in, it's because I know that the conditions are good and this and that. Whereas like Natty Select, like. You're kind of like you're dropping in when they tell you you're dropping in.
You have to drop in, right.
Like if the light's flat, doesn't really matter. Like you gotta go. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
And so like that's where like a competitive mindset like really comes into play, because you're just like those people that have that like eye of the tiger. They can just like deal with that.
Yeah. I just read a Kazoo quote. I'll put it up on the show. Like. He's kind of critical of it, like, oh, everybody's in the natural selection. Okay. That's why I don't do it.
Okay.
Because snowboarding is about individual style. And you just said it in another way. It's like someone telling you when to drop, and the conditions look a certain way, so they'll work for the camera. But, like, you're out there struggling. You put together a video part, it takes you 2 fucking years, right? You can't put together a video part in a single run. That's nuts, but some people can do it. Like Travis has done it. There's a handful of people that have done it to a point where it's like, oh damn, that's some next level shit.
For sure. There's definitely been some like really sick moments in that
and it's just getting better and better and better every year, which is super sick.
Hopefully they get some more courses going and keep it entertaining. But like to say when like Kazi doesn't do it, like if you really break down like all the riders that could be in it, it's a pretty large list.
It's really big.
And like some people just don't thrive in it or don't want to do it. And
Bryn Alexander being in it this year is sick.
It's cool.
Fuck. Because
I feel like they kind of dogged him though. They put him in the split board event, but he doesn't even have a split board. He had to use verts the whole time. It's like,
no way.
Come on. And then the other dudes just came here for their duel, Tor and Stale, I think maybe. Anyway, and they had him a heli. I was like, damn, dude, way to give Bryn the split board event.
Unreal.
And anyway,
but it does show that like. He's on dope, right? Like he doesn't have a big sponsor paying his way in. They're opening it up to a broader. I mean, maybe not. Bryn's amazing. So
for sure.
I like the idea of wild cards.
That
100%. Are like our local guys that are like just like sure. Fucking next gen coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of feel like the NST dudes probably got sick of everyone being like, dude, you need to get Bryn in this thing.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get him in.
Yeah.
Get him in. And there's a handful of guys from here that could really get after it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the Pacific Northwest breeds riders that would ride that stuff. Oh, I just want Dustin to win it. He should have won it. You know,
he's got that one. He won the bald face one. He's got a couple seconds, I think, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm horrible at this.
Yeah.
I had Nils on the show, and like the whole time, I'm like, I know he's in it.
Yeah.
But then at the end, I'm like, oh, he was the guy who did all the switch one. He did his whole run switches.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Mm-hmm.
That was incredible. That like the shit he was doing switch, I was like, oh, that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
That guy is all switch. Mm-hmm. What the hell?
Yeah.
And he
I
incredible.
remember when I was helping out with Ben Ferg and Nils were doing their duel like 2 years ago up Rutherford, and and Nils was like doing a lot of switch stuff, and you could tell like that was his new formula.
It's a good formula.
Yeah, for sure. And he's obviously super good at it.
And he talked about it on the show that like, you know, when he went up against Travis early on last year, you know, he gets in the helicopter with him, and you know, he's a nice person, and he's just looking at Travis like, I'm taking you out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything this whole thing. I'm getting in your head. Fuck you. Which is like, oh my God, you're talking about Travis Rice like that? Like that's a competitor's mind right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? That's nuts. That's like but that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You can't just be like Mr. Nice Guy.
yeah, totally. I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah. That's the sound bite always, right? Yeah, I'm just happy to be included. Here to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you got to win, man. You want to win.
Mm-hmm.
I have zero of that. I'm always there to have fun. The contest thing for me is like the absolute worst way to ruin a day of snowboarding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking of that just watching X Games recently, and like all the interviews at the end of the run was like so, like basically you could tell that like somebody was like, hey, just tell them how stoked you are to be here, and like how good the course is, and like how happy you are to be at Aspen, and then it's like, yeah, I'm just like so stoked to be here at Aspen, like the course is running so good, and just like really happy to be here with all my friends. It's like can you just
love that?
Can you just someone be honest, like, you know?
I love that because it reminds me of growing up, and I'm not a sports guy at all, but those hockey interviews where they either won. There's only 2 interviews that they ever do. It's like, we tried really fucking hard and then we won, or we tried really hard and we didn't win.
Yeah, the media training comes into play.
Yeah.
But I just want somebody to be honest at some point.
You're like, fuck, these conditions suck shit.
Yeah.
And this contest is fucking rigged. I couldn't see anything. And they let the good guys go when the light is good, and we're the fucking second class assholes.
But then they can't because they won't get the invite back.
They'll
next
never
year.
get it back.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not I don't know. Maybe you've been there, you know. Maybe that's not how it feels in the moment.
Yeah.
You're just like sitting there waiting for your drop. Okay, I'm dropping now. Great. Okay. Anyone else think these conditions suck a little bit? Or? Yeah. No. It would be cool. But it's not sportsmanlike too. You know who did that was Palmer. Fuck. Remember him just saying, it's too fucking easy, man. Like this, you gotta get some better guys.
Oh yeah.
I gotta win everything.
Is that when he like was doing the skiing or something?
Yeah, totally. He went skiing, motocross, everything. He's like, it's just too easy.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man, come on. You guys aren't even trying.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe like we don't need people to throw the other people under the bus, but like I just want some honesty. Like I'm sick of hearing these buzzwords of like just
told what to say.
Everything's all good and the course was great. Thanks to so and so.
Really happy to be here in Aspen.
Yeah.
I'm just happy with that quote with they've taken it down now, but the Shawn White quote that was up at Cypress was absolutely the best.
Dude, I wish.
Can't believe you made stickers of that. That's so sick. And it flew under my radar. Like I had read it and I was like, oh yeah, Shawn White's been here. But then the quote is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's beyond.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a quote that you would put up to like promote your shit.
Dude, and that's what I say. Like when people think I'm making fun of Shawn.
Of course you're not.
I'm not, because he was just put on the spot and he just like pulled a quote out of his ass.
He said that.
And
he said that, and they pulled it from a clip that is like.
And then they printed it 20 feet long and put it over all the condiments.
It was incredible.
It was insane. It doesn't make any sense. I've never even been here before. It's a wild mountain. It's a pretty cool spot. Like, it just keeps going on like that.
Looks like it would be pretty good to ride here. Yeah, really.
It's like, you know what? That's going over the condiments.
Unbelievable. Shawn White was here. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just like Shawn White was at our resort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't ride here or anything, but it looks all right.
But he won the pipe there.
Yeah.
Like, they could have put something better. Like, they could have put just like a photo of him winning or something.
I feel happy
like,
to win here at this wonderful resort.
Yeah, like they didn't need to do him dirty on that one.
Yeah, that was
when the quote got taken down and people were like, "Oh, you should have gotten that quote," and I'm like, "Where the heck would I have put that thing?" Like,
it's so big.
It's like
you would have had to put it. Yeah,
I don't have a ginormous condiment station like that. Like,
one half of your house is just the big Shawn quote. Yeah, you guys were famously, on the team at the same time and competing against each other. And like you said, he's like, oh yeah, Mikey's more of a park guy. But what an awesome time to be in snowboarding and see the rise of that guy. Like that guy, the best to ever do it in snowboarding. There are a lot of people that would say, Terrier's the best, Craig's the best. You pick your guy. But in terms of the most winningest guy of all time.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you cannot deny, like, what that dude has done at all. Like,
he did it. Yeah.
And he always, like, he just wanted to win. He wanted to be the best. And I always tell people, like I haven't seen Shawn a few years now, like, since Jake's service in Vermont, but, like, he's never changed. Like, it's not like he got famous and changed. Like, he's always been like that. He's honestly just himself. Like, you can't.
Well, I haven't seen his movie or anything yet, but I mean, when I saw the Jake one, and all the health problems that Jake had and all that, like, it was really heart wrenching.
Yeah.
But I imagine that Shawn's got the same thing because he was born with like a faulty heart valve or something. Like, he was kind of like against all odds. I'm gonna fucking do this, Yeah,
totally. I haven't seen that. It's like an HBO thing, right?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't the Shawn one. I haven't seen it yet either. But
I imagine it's good because people in the industry love to hate on him because he wasn't in the community. Which you can't be if you're gonna beat everyone in the community. You know what I mean? You need coaches and you need private pipes and you need tricks that nobody knows you can do, and you need that eye of the tiger or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely had the funding to make it all happen, and like he honestly didn't even really need the funding. Like, he was gonna make it happen anyway. But
he did it. The thing is, he did it. In the Deer Rider thing, though, it really did bring a tear to my eye that at the end of Jake has passed away. There's a contest and all the half pipe riders are riding, and then everybody rides the pipe all at once, and then Shawn drops last.
Yeah,
that was a really emotional moment for me because in my mind, the story I'm telling myself is he's not on Burton anymore, but fuck, he loved Jake.
Yeah,
and he's just letting go, and he's riding like so fucking good. Like,
totally.
Like in not contest mode, in like fucking show the world mode. Like, this guy meant the most. I fucking love that moment because he's like a human machine. You know what I mean? Like, he's like a character from a movie, but in real life, he did this stuff. Like, it's not like fiction. He became better than everybody else at a time when being better than everybody else was basically impossible.
Yeah, and he did it when he was like 18 years old, and like his competitors were in their mid 20s.
Exactly.
But yeah, like even at Jake's service, like Shawn showed up, and he flew in the morning, had a flight out at the end of the night, and we all started hanging, and he was like, I'm staying. Like, I'm not getting my flight.
Oh, that's dope.
And
that's
that
cool
was like a really cool moment. And like, he's not like your snowboarder, I think, which is why he like gets the most hate. But ultimately, like, he's Shawn White.
He loves it as much as any of us. He does it as much, like, more than any of us could do. Like, fuck, dude. Yeah.
He definitely.
I'm like 50 now. So like when I was a kid, it was just like, fuck that guy. Actually, when I was a kid, I was like, wow, there's a kid who does this. And he's really good. Yeah. That's awesome. And then in the middle, it was like, oh, no, he's going to play guitar and fucking, be on Rolling Stone magazine and also rule at vert. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
You're going to skate with Tony Hawk and do all these things. Fuck, dude. Like, tone it down.
Yeah.
But
So good.
he's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I told myself I wouldn't go gushing on Shawn White, but it's cool that you got to come up with that guy. And here you are, you're still on the Burton team, which is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. Are you the longest rider now on the team?
I'm the longest, like, existing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe Terrier was, like, coming up on 30 years.
Yeah, you must have been.
Something like,
You must have been, because it was like 90.
so I don't know if I'm the longest ever. But there's, like, honestly, the majority of the Burton team have been on Burton for, like, a really long time.
Yeah, which
like
is super
Mickles,
sick.
20 plus years.
Oh, yeah.
Solers, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Danny, probably the same.
Fun.
Ben Ferg, the same. Like
Yeah.
since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go on. Kimmy Fasani's been on forever. Kelly Clark.
Do you guys all get to ride together ever, like as a group heli somewhere or something?
I mean, yeah, not just like go screw off and like do heli laps. I mean, I guess we do that sometimes, but like that's not the basis of the trip.
Right.
But yeah, I would say more so like the last while, like as a team would ride at least like the bulk of the team, or like sorry, I gotta add it. Mick Morris has been on Burton for a really long time too.
Oh hell yeah.
But the bulk of the team that like does film at least a little bit, like we all ride together quite a bit.
Oh, that's super sick. Yeah. There's like destinations that you guys wind up at. when
Yeah.
You're hanging.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Fuck. I love Burton. I really do. I think I was sold when I was a kid. I'm like, these guys are the best. And then in the middle there, I worked at a shop that didn't sell it, so it was like, but I still kind of knew, like whenever I would like get my hands on something, like we still wrote Burton bindings, right? Like they were like better than what was available by other people. And every time I look at the stuff, like you say, like when you look at other guys' stuff, you're like, well, this is not quite like what I'm getting. Every time I look at it, I'm like, the lines are so clean. The stuff looks really, really good.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
I'm really
likewise.
honored that they've reached out and started supporting the show again.
Yeah, cool.
I had a bit of a break there for a few months, and I was like, oh no, what's happening to the show? You know?
Yeah,
it's
cool. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like you're a great ambassador for snowboarding.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got a long career ahead of you still too, right? So
thank you.
You get the kids out, Chili's out already.
Yeah. My son, he's 4, so we've been out riding. I think last year would have like been a really good intro year, but we didn't get out as much just with like the low snow. I didn't want to like torture him out there. But yeah, we've been out this year, and then I couldn't walk for like a while, so kind of missed some prime boarding time for him. But he's getting out there, and he's pumped on it.
So is he goofy or reg?
He's goofy for now, and I honestly think he's gonna stay. Like I feel like he's right foot forward.
Yeah, I think I forced my kids both to be goofy.
Yeah.
I think at one point my kid was like, I think I go the other way. I'm like, you don't.
No. Yeah, like I've just noticed like certain things he's doing, like kicking a ball and like whatever, sliding on some ice. I'm like, I think he is right foot forward, but just naturally when we first had him on, he was always just like
I think you get to pick. Around. I think you get to pick when you're the parent.
Yeah, sure.
You set the board up in a certain way. You say the stomp pad's here, this one's your back foot, and here you go.
Yeah. So he's goofy. I think he's staying goofy. And he's shredding and just keep riding. It was sick actually. Like a week ago, I had my dad out and Chili. It was like a triple generation ride day. It was fun.
That's really, really dope. Yeah. Is your dad, he rides all the time?
Not much. He's honestly more of a cross-country skier. But he does know how to snowboard. He's all pumped. He lives in Alberta. He's pumped at Norquay. The seniors' season's pass at Norquay is like $80 a year or something.
Oh, wow.
So it's like kind of a no-brainer. So he does that, and he'll hit that like a couple times a year or whatever.
Yeah, I've definitely been, now that I don't have a job, and so like I like to go up early in the morning. You know who else likes to go up early?
Oh, the seniors.
All the seniors. Because they can't sleep.
Yeah.
They can't sleep anyways. They may as well be there.
Yeah.
And so the conversation's always the same. Yeah, I mean, I got up here and you get on the first tram and nobody's here for the first hour.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years. I'm
Okay.
going to be a senior up there forever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. The first tram is...
Yeah, that's the talk of the town.
It's always, yeah. And the groomers are the best, and it's actually pretty good every day, no matter what the conditions are. If you get up first,
Yeah.
you beat that
And
crowd.
those first groomers.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sick.
It's fun, man. All right.
That's awesome.
I think we got an episode.
Wicked.
I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for keeping the stoke high on snowboarding and
Likewise.
all the footy over all the years. And I hope you get all that you hope for your 2-year project.
Yeah, thank
Is
you so
everyone
much.
on Red Bull? How does that work?
It's like, and honestly, like, I'm not like one of the main dudes in the movie. Like, if I get, like, I'll be stoked to have some stuff in the movie.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
filming for the movie, but it's like majority, well, it's basically a Burton and Red Bull team project
Sick.
collab.
And a bunch of the Burton guys are on Red Bull proper.
Yeah, exactly. And then like Danny Davis is in the mix. Like he's
He's a Mountain Dew guy. Isn't he?
not anymore.
Ah.
So he's in the mix.
Wild.
Like he's not on Bowl. We've actually had like Cicerelli out with us a little bit, even though he's on Rockstar.
Yeah.
Zoe Sadowski, she's coming out. She's on Monster, but
Cicerelli's just been crushing it.
yeah, he's insane.
Holy Christ.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, whatever the movie was I saw in the theaters with him early
Yeah,
on
the
this season.
Torstein one. Yeah, he killed it.
I killed it, and then Torstein just killed it with all that music. Like, that was such a rad movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's awesome.
I
It's
enjoyed
incredible.
it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I watched it twice,
Yeah.
and I never watch anything twice anymore because there's not enough time for all the shit.
Yeah.
But that one was just the concept and the music and the shots are just next level. Cicerelli's just going off.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's
Yeah.
super talented. So yeah, he'll be in the
one
mix.
last
and
question.
Then,
When you learned double corks, did you learn them into an airbag?
No.
Never.
No.
Have you learned anything in an airbag?
I've never learned anything into the airbag. I remember one year we were doing remember when Burton had those like really like kind of novelty boards? They were called nugs. And
Yes.
They would ride really short.
Yeah, it was a CK, like the Craig Kelly Nug that they did one of.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was like kind of pretty short lived. Like maybe there was like 2 years of them.
Yes.
But anyway, one summer we were up doing a commercial for it up on Camp of Champs, and we all like hit the jump into the airbag, and one of us had like sharp edges, I guess, and popped it. And then I just remember like the dude who was running the airbag was like telling the kids like, "Hey, some Burton guy came and popped the bag." But anyway, that's the only time I've ever hit an airbag.
Yeah. Was it fun? It seems awful.
Yeah, I probably had fun. I probably hit it once.
Yeah, with a nug. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just flip it around.
Yeah.
And just flipping and flopping.
Yeah.
You can't just like land on your head. You have to like
No, totally.
kind of
And
try
like
and
the
land.
airbags that like these like that they're learning their tricks into like have a landing and everything.
It's gnarly.
It's like a whole.
Yeah, it's like
different
landing
thing.
in soft and slow. It's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
It's crazy.
I
Yeah.
just was so psyched when Mikkel was like, "Fuck no, I learned those on snow, man." Like,
yeah.
no airbag, like on purpose. He had the best attitude of like a competitive kid. Don't do the same run twice.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and just for him, really.
Yeah, he's like a man of principles. Just like,
Principles,
yeah.
exactly. It feels like the snowboarders, and I'm not saying Mikey Cicerelli doesn't have principles, but I think when you have a coach, you're just in a different zone. You're in a different headspace, and you're doing things for a different reason.
Yeah.
Like Red Gerard talked about it. Like his parents were like, "Please do the Olympics." Like he wasn't like, "Oh boy, Olympics."
Yeah.
They're like, "Can you compete for one more year before you go in the backcountry? It's an Olympic year." And then he won the Olympics.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So what?
Totally.
It's just a stupid contest."
Yeah.
I'm like, "That's the best. That kid right there is the absolute best guy." And then he goes into the backcountry and he absolutely rocks it. It's sick. I love that kind of vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Man of principles. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Coach says I have to do this. Whatever. I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
Yeah.
Right on, Mikey.
Sick.
Thanks,
Thank you.
dude. FNRad shout-outs to Mikey, Jesse, and Chili. Thank you for doing the show, Mikey. Big ups to all our Patreon supporters. You guys are the reason I can do this show. Thanks to the sponsors, too. Be sure to come back next week for more FNRad snowboarding presented by Flojoy Water and brought to you by FNRad Productions.